Our mission provides that we promote the sustainable economic growth and development of women and to help them integrate into leadership positions, create community awareness of the importance of women in the island's economic, social, and cultural platform, influence legislative policies in issues facing women, and provide a business environment that pays competitive wages and benefits for women. We want to extend an maasi to all of our senatorial candidates who will be introduced shortly for agreeing to be a part of this unique town hall setting of thought-provoking conversations, providing our audience and the people of Guam further insight into your perspectives and intentions as a serious candidate for the 33rd Guam legislature. This furthers democracy in action by giving voters an opportunity to be informed about their choices this November. On behalf of our board members, we also extend a very warm thank you to the Academy of Our Lady of Guam for allowing us the opportunity to host tonight's conversations in this wonderful venue. And for all of you who are looking forward to our conversations with the gubernatorial candidates, we want to set the record straight. Both teams had confirmed, and we were prepared to move forward with the October 7th event earlier this week. However, the Calvo-Tenorio team had canceled due to a schedule conflict. And since the gubernatorial conversations were meant to be a dialogue between the two teams, it is important to have both gubernatorial teams at this conversation. Hence, we have asked the Calvo-Tenorio team to provide us with a date in which to accommodate their schedule and subsequently confirm with the other team. And once this is secured, we will notify you of the rescheduled day and time for GWCC's gubernatorial conversations. And now I want to bring to your attention that there are refreshments for sale for tonight's event downstairs, so if any of you want to break away to avail of this, please do so. And I also want to bring to your attention that we do have tables with voter registration, decolonization registration, Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce membership, and sample ballots on display. So do take the time to go visit those tables. And now, to our very patient audience. For tonight's town hall conversations, GWCC is proud to promote accessibility in terms of free access to our membership, transparency in terms of no scripted listing of questions, the candidates select their own, and thirdly, accountability. The candidates can cross-section the other on their responses. And with this said, I now would like to introduce our moderator. She is a seasoned, veteran local journalist and has served as reporter, anchor, and producer of KUAM, reporter and producer of Guam Cable News, and producer of documentaries. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the lovely and very talented Carmen Ulloa Kasperbauer. Carmen?
Thank you very much, Dr. Enriquez. We're going to go ahead and begin by calling in our senatorial candidates. We begin with Senator Christopher Duenas, candidate Rollin Bloss, former Senator Dr. Judith Guthertz, Senator Aline Yamashita, Senator Michael Sinicolas, candidate Valentino Perez, former Senator Adolfo Palacios, former Senator Frank Bloss Jr., Senator Dennis Rodriguez, candidate Felix Crisostomo Benavente, Senator Thomas Atta, candidate Glenn Leon Guerrero, former Senator Hope Alvarez Cristobal, former Senator James Espaldon, and candidate Derek Baza Hills. Are all of you okay up there? I wish I could offer you a little more space. Are you okay? Just wanted to make sure. All right. So what's going to happen is I'm just going to go over the guidelines. We've gone over them with the candidates already, but for the sake of the audience, understanding what's happening, I'm going to go ahead and share it with all of you. First of all, you see all of the senators up here, and I'm sure that all of you are aware that there are 15 candidates up here, but we know that there will be 30 on the ballot, right? And so what we did was we actually split the forums into two, and we have, of course, this 15 and the remaining 15 we'll see next Thursday. But some of you may be wondering how it was that we came to decide who was actually going to participate in either of these forums. So I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you, and it's only going to take 10 seconds. Isn't that nice? Okay, so the candidates were separated by party affiliation, gender, and incumbent and non-incumbent status. Names were then drawn from those groups and evenly distributed to ensure equal representation of all the participants. The drawing of names was both conducted and witnessed by GWCC board members. Now let's move on to the format quickly. Once we begin, our first candidate will draw a number from the fishbowl. Can we go ahead and hold that snifter up high so everybody can see? So what we have in this fishbowl, or snifter, because some of you actually know what it is, right? We actually have some numbers in there you can see. And so what's going to happen is we're beginning with candidate Hills and going on all the way to candidate 15. We are going to ask the candidates to draw a number which would then be handed to me, and I will ask then the candidates the corresponding question or question that corresponds with that number. The candidate will then have 1 minute or 60 seconds to respond, and just so that you know, candidates, you'll hear a bell to start, and then we're going to signal again with a bell to end, right? And if anybody goes beyond, we just use this. But we don't want to use that, right? So I'm sorry if I scared you. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, the candidate's response will be followed by a question asked by the candidate who is to the left, or for us, the right of the candidate who is responding. And that second candidate will then be given 10 seconds to ask a question to the previous candidate, upon which the earlier candidate will then be given 30 seconds. So if any of you in the back are saying, oh, what did she say? Then I'm just going to explain it. So what's going to happen is the first candidate will be given 60 seconds to respond. A follow-up question, which should only last 10 seconds, will be asked, upon which the candidate has 30 seconds to respond. Did everybody get that? Just want to make sure that we're following. Okay. So then what's going to happen is we're going to follow through in the exact format, and that's all we're going to do, and we're going to keep doing this until the clock runs out. Not the stopwatch, just the clock in general, okay, you guys, because it's not going to be a 4-hour show. Okay, we are going to begin this evening, so they are going to need a wireless mic, and we'll go ahead and start with candidate Hills. Do we have a wireless mic? So what's going to happen is, members of the audience, just so that you know, we're going to go ahead and open this forum with a 30-second introduction of each candidate by that candidate. Do you have a microphone, sir? Okay, just wanted to make sure, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. Hold on real quick. Timer, are you ready? Okay, and we have cards right here. All right, and we can begin. Go ahead, sir.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Guam Women Chamber of Commerce for putting this event together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very unprecedented time in our lives where we have the opportunity to share the stage with many unique individuals with unique backgrounds. I'm Derek Baza Hills. I come from the village of Agate. I graduated from the Natural Choice, the University of Guam. I'm currently a master's student. I enjoy learning through a higher education, but the problem is that we face is affordability. That's where my platform and where Derek Baza Hills comes in, so we can produce a platform and solutions that addresses that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, candidate Hills. Former Senator Espaldon.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. Very simply, in 30 seconds, I was raised to believe and to share whatever God-given talents I have with others. And really, I threw my hat in the ring with that whole perspective in mind. I have something to offer. I have God-given abilities and talents, and I'd like to share that, and I'm hoping you'll give me that chance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Former Senator Cristobal.
Good evening. I'm Hope Alvarez Cristobal. I'm formerly from Sinahanya. I'm now from Tamuning. I'm deeply rooted in Guam. I've lived here all my life, except for a couple years off island. I'm a proud Chamorro. I've served in the legislature for 1 term, and in 2 years I was able to introduce the Commission on Self-Determination and the Decolonization Registry. I also gave 85% discount in real estate, your primary domicile, for 55 years and over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, former Senator Cristobal. Next, we're hearing from candidate Glenn Leon Guerrero.
Half a day. I'm Glenn Leon Guerrero. I want to thank the Guam Women's Chamber for hosting this event. I'm the candidate that wants to focus in on our economic development and career development for everybody. I'm the candidate that has a lot of experience. I've worked with the port, I've worked with the Guam Election Commission, and I also worked with GITA. I'm the candidate that wants to work hard for you, and just as Jim said, I have talents and I want to share that with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Tom Adda.
Afade, I'm Tom Adda. I'm currently completing my 7th term in the legislature. During these past 6 years, I've had oversight of the maritime transportation, public infrastructure, and public safety. I still want to serve again, and so I'm here tonight to seek your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Candidate Felix Crisostomo Benavente.
Thank you very much. My platform revolves around jobs, housing, and transportation. I am a 30-year businessman. I served 12 years in Gulf Guam as a city planner, working at land management, public works, and the port. And we look forward to providing all kinds of opportunities for our young people, especially for most of you here. And that's really what we're working for. And I want to bring my talents and experiences to you, to people of Guam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Dennis Rodriguez.
Hafade and good evening. I want to thank the Guam Women's Chamber for hosting this event. I'm here to ask you for your support and your vote once again. I have a young family, and my wife Lena, who's here with me. We share the same struggles and challenges that many of our people face today. And that's been the center of my work in the Guam legislature, is being just like you and knowing what the struggles are and working on your behalf. So please vote for me this coming election. Sidus Masi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Frank Blas Jr.
Creating opportunities for you. Hafade and Buenos noches. I'm Frank Blas Jr. I want to thank the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I served you previously in previous legislatures, and what I'd like to do is come back into the legislature and look for and continue to work towards opportunities to make your lives better. Thank you very much.
Former Senator Adolfo Palacios.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Adolfo Palacios, I'm Odot. I served alias as a senator in the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 30th Guam legislature. As a retired cop and now a founder of a Palacios Security Agency, I would like to return to the legislature to continue and pursue my ambition. There are some unfinished work that I would like to do to continue to strengthen our community justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a crime problem in Guam. Please consider me in this coming election. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Candidate Valentino Perez.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Valentino Perez. I'm running because I want to help the legislature be fiscally and economically responsible. I've got a master's degree in corporate finance and investment banking, as well as experience as a financial advisor and an adjunct professor of finance at the University of Guam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Michael Sinicolas.
Buenos noches and good evening. I'm Michael F.Q. Sinicolas. 2 years ago, you guys voted for me to serve you in the current term of the Guam legislature, and I'm deeply humbled and honored by that. I ran to build a responsible Guam, and that means managing our money well, investing to improve the quality of life of our people, and being fair to everybody, regardless of who we are or where we come from, just being fair to everybody. And I'd like to continue that work if you'd please allow me to in the 33rd Guam legislature. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Senator Aline Yamashita.
So every night he looks up in the sky and he says, "Dear God, I'm really doing the best I can." For the last 30 years, whether as a teacher and most recently in 4 years, all of my work is focused on fostering opportunities that will help every single person do the very best they can. My name is Aline Yamashita, and I humbly ask you for one of your votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Judy Guthertz.
Buenos, Judy Guthertz, started school at Weddingale Elementary School, completed school at the Academy of Our Lady, taught at the University of Guam for 28 years. was former chief of police, former director of public safety. I'm running because I want to enhance the quality of life for all people that call Guam home by giving Guam good government. GGGG equals G. Give Guam good government equals Judy Gethards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Candidate Roland Blas.
Buenas noches, Manay Luzon, Manay Nahu, Bonito na Puengi. I'm Roland Blas from the beautiful village of Zonya, but I've worked in that Guam legislature 20 years. And indeed, I am ready to serve you, the people of Guam. And my platform is concerning our senior citizens, healthcare for the disabled, and to cultivate, perpetuate, and to keep alive our culture, our heritage, and our land preservation. I'm Roland Blas, vote number 2 on the Republican side, and if you haven't decided, cross the river and vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Chris Duenas.
Good evening and half a day. My name is Chris Duenas. I am now serving my second term in the Guam legislature. I also served 8 years in the executive branch under the Camacho administration as your Director of Youth Affairs and Land Management. Currently in the Guam legislature, my focus has been on the cost of living and trying to bring it down on working families. I've also worked on programs that empower youth and put sports facilities in our villages and improve them to help our children gain confidence and be better citizens. I humbly ask for one of your votes. I'm Chris Duenas, and thank you. Glad to be here this evening.
Thank you very much. And candidates, it is now time to begin the conversation. We're going to go ahead and begin with candidate Hills. Sir, if you be kind enough to draw a number. Thank you very much. Candidate Hills, the number you selected was 10. I'm trying to show it and I'm blocking it. It's number 10. Can everybody see that? I'm sorry, it should have been a little bigger. It's a 10. Question number 10, and just to let you know that we will be projecting question number 10 on the screen should you need it, but it's going to only be projected once I complete the asking. Number 10. It has been 15 years since Guam hosted the South Pacific Games. This event, now referred to as the Pacific Games, brought in hundreds of people from all over the region for 2 weeks. This meant economic stimulation and enormous support for our local sports community. Do you believe, Candidate Hills, that the government of Guam should take on a more aggressive role promoting sports tourism for the island? You have 60 seconds beginning now.
Thank you for that question. That question is very important and is critical to the next few years here on the island. When we talk about economic stability and trying to seek out extra revenue, the government of Guam and the people of Guam should actually take an active role. I think if you're seeking out extra revenue, we need to go out there ourselves and seek that. I think it shouldn't just be the responsibility of the legislative branch, but it should be a collective responsibility. My father, who served in the Department of Parks and Recreation, guarded these games back in 1998 when he was serving as a chief of Parks and Recs. And I knew that security was also an issue, so that when we talk about public safety, business people just don't look at Guam and say, well, it's a wonderful tropical island. I think they look at all the aspects, whether it's security for the community and the security of those participating. But I definitely believe, and I truly believe, and I'm committed to that, to make sure we seek out that Guam could be a hub for the South Pacific Games once more, like it was in the 90s. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Espaldon, you now have 10 seconds to ask a follow-up question, beginning now.
I do not have a follow-up question. I think that was an excellent answer, and I applaud the speaker.
So, thank you very much. Well, candidate, okay, so your 10 seconds is up then. So Candidate Hills, do you know what? We generally want to give you 30 seconds to respond to a question, but because he did not ask one, I'm not going to give it to you. I hope you understand.
So we'll go ahead and proceed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. Former Senator Espaldon, would you be kind enough to draw a number? Thank you very much. The number that James Espaldon selected was 45.
Oh, sorry.
Is that, I beg your pardon, was that befitting somehow? Okay, I didn't know what you guys were, okay. 45, here we go. I'm sorry. 45. Former Senator Espaldon, the county and city of San Francisco instituted a ban on plastic bags and a 10-cent minimum charge by retailers to customers for paper or recyclable bags. Would you support a similar ban on plastic bags on Guam and back retailers who charge customers for paper or recyclable bags?
Thank you for the question. The short answer, of course, is yes, because we do have to be very aware of the environmental issues that they present, not only to the land, but also to the oceans. And of course, the ocean is a very big part of our culture and of our livelihood, as well as the economic engine that drives our economy, which is tourism. The problem I have with that, though, is, of course, we do have high prices on Guam as it is. To implement a tax of 10 cents per bag definitely could pose some hardships. However, that could be that incentive which would allow us to then start changing the way we think, bring our own bags with us, and again, start doing away with the plastic bags and taking care of our environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Cristobal, you now have 10 seconds for a follow-up question.
How do you foresee implementing that?
Okay, hold on, just before you respond, you have 30 seconds to respond, beginning now.
That's unfair to giving you only 30 seconds to respond to how do you implement something kind of policy
Now
that
you have
doesn't even
25.
exist. And I agree. But again, it just has to go into law. Bottom line, you pass the law and you enforce it. And what will happen, we need the participation of the private community here to go ahead and implement that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Former Senator Hope Cristobal, would you be kind enough to draw a number, please? Thank you very much. Hope, your number is 27. 27.
Sounds like how I feel.
That could be good or bad, depending on the scale.
27 years old.
According to the World Health Organization, since December of last year, there have been 6,574 cases and 3,091 deaths attributed to the Ebola virus. Recently, the Pacific Daily News reported that GMH has 9 isolation rooms, and, quote, we have to rely on the airlines, end quote. Yet, we don't have a permanent isolation room in the airport, nor was the issue discussed about training airport employees. A single report of Ebola on Guam could shut down this territory to in- and outbound flights, effectively impacting our tourism and military industries. Now here's the question. What would you do if elected or re-elected to mitigate the risks of this deadly disease coming to Guam?
If I'm elected, how would I mitigate the risk of Ebola? Holy cow. Ebola, to me, is a new disease. I'm not even aware of what all the ramifications are when you contract Ebola. I understand that Africa is having a real problem with it, and I understand that there are some identified, there's a nurse that came down with it in the States. But how would I mitigate Ebola at this point in time? I would bring back the WHO organization, and I would bring in our Center for Disease Control folks right away to get us prepared for it. That's how I would do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Candidate Leon Guerrero, you now have 10 seconds, or if you could wait for the bell, I'm sorry, sir, 10 seconds to ask a follow-up question.
What specifically would you do to prevent this from happening?
I wouldn't have sex with someone who has Ebola. I'm really thoroughly unfamiliar with the disease. I know that it's real tragic. I know that it's pretty serious, and the world is watching what Africa is doing about it and what the U.S. is doing about it. I think the only recourse we have is the Center for Disease Control to come here right now, this minute, if we can get them on a flight to come out here, if it is a serious threat.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, former Senator Cristobal. Candidate
I
Leon.
need a few minutes to
I
recompose
know.
here.
Okay. Thank you very much. You're drawing a number. Thank you very much. Thank you. Candidate Leon Guerrero, the number you selected was 47. 47. Number 47. Your question is, would you support a bill to install, monitor, and maintain parking meters in areas such as downtown Hagåtña or Tumon?
Good question. Right now, parking is very difficult, especially with the building of the museum. There's a lot of parking places that were used in the past that are no longer available. And I think that with the revitalization of Hagåtña, we're going to see more and more traffic. I would support a bill which allows us to put parking meters in Hagåtña and in Tumon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator, this was just acknowledgement. I'm neutral. Senator Ada, you have 10 seconds to ask a follow-up question.
In addition to the parking meters, which could raise revenues for our Guam transit, would you also consider the use of park and ride lots like over by the swimming pool?
That's a great suggestion. I'm sorry, do I stop now?
It's all right. You have 27 seconds.
In addition to that, we should have vehicles that allow us to transit from the pool to the Hagåtña areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, you know what I have to tell you as she makes her way over here with the number, that actually that was the intention, the objective of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. They wanted this to be a friendly conversation, a conversatorial, and so I love how you feel comfortable enough to just jump in there and respond to Tom. We really appreciated that, but yes, the bell, we just need to make sure we wait for the bell. Is that okay? Thank you very much. So Senator Ada, you selected number 37. Number 37. 37. And your question is, if you could have only one bill passed into law, what would that law be, and why is it so important to you? Because you've been in the legislature for so long, you cannot pull something that you've already, a bill that you've already introduced and passed. Is that okay? If I throw that proviso in there?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
But you didn't say that I could not talk about a bill that I've introduced and hasn't been passed.
Okay.
Right now, one of the biggest problems that we have is in the area of procurement. It seems that every bid that goes through gets protested. So the first bill that I would introduce is a bill that would address the issues of legal remedies that have to deal with bid protests and whatnot, so that we can get that process moving. And that's very important to the government, because getting the supplies that the agencies need in a timely manner is what is needed for them to be able to function effectively. So that would be the first bill that I would introduce. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, we have 10 seconds for a follow-up question from Felix Benavente.
I don't really know how to ask a question on why would that be your first bill. That's the only question I would have. Why would that be?
That's fair.
Yeah. Because right now, it seems that every major bid that goes through the government gets protested, gets hung up, and as a result, the agencies get paralyzed and are not able to deliver the services to the public. And so that's very important.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Senator Ada. And now, candidate Benavente. Thank you very much. Sir, you selected number 36. Number 36. Sir, what do you believe to be the greatest power of a senator, and how would you responsibly exercise that power?
As a new candidate, I can only say that the greatest power is the privilege to set policy that can guide the community down the road. The power to gather the information and see where the people should be going, and that will take our island further and give incentives and opportunities for all of our people, I think is a tremendous power. And that can only come from the people. So, you know, just in conversation, they got 30 seconds here. It's an amazing thing, and I think I heard this from Senator Espaldon from a previous presentation, that you can just gather all that information, set it in law, and direct the island for the future.
Thank you very much. Senator Rodriguez, you have 10 seconds to ask a follow-up question.
Well, you know, I don't, you know, he gave a good answer. It's very hard. It's a difficult answer. It's a difficult question to ask. So, you know, so I applaud you for that.
So that's a comment. And so is it okay, I'm taking your 30 seconds away, and I'm going to go ahead and use it to ask his next question, if you don't mind. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you. Senator Rodriguez, you selected number 15. Your question is, do you believe the government of Guam should provide assistance to farmers and the agricultural industry when their crops are damaged by storms? How would you help make the farming industry on Guam a sustainable one?
Thank you very much, and absolutely. I'll look at former Senator Hope Cristobal. She's a farmer. And so absolutely, you know, we have to support our farmers, and especially during the times when their crops are damaged during a storm. And so, you know, I think the other question is how are we gonna help make farming industry sustainable in Guam? Is that one measure that I introduced during this term was to give an incentive for locally grown products, made in Guam products, to be shipped off island. And so it was vetoed by the governor. It was a tax credit that shippers can use to lower down the cost to ship things off island, because we know there's a market. GITA has been going out to trade missions in Asia, and we know there's a market for our local produce and for made in Guam products. And so I'm gonna pursue that and ensure that we're able to give our farmers that incentive. That biggest factor is the cost of shipping. And so we're gonna make sure that we give them that assistance so that they can grow more products, more produce, and be able to ship it off island. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Blas, you now have 10 seconds after you held the bell, after you heard the bell, to ask a follow-up question. In the microphone, please.
Taking my 10 seconds.
Okay, I noticed.
Are you done?
Yeah.
You are? It's done.
Never, yeah, that was, you're making our microphone feel so lonely. Okay, so you selected number 50. Number 50, okay? Your question is? Crimes committed on Guam by non-U.S. citizens such as FSM and other Micronesians are continuously increasing and are a burden to our criminal justice system and Guam's financial well-being. What is your solution to this growing problem?
That's not a fixed question, right? Okay, I'm just checking. Okay. Well, you know, thank you very much for the question. And as you probably know, over the last, when I previously served in previous legislatures, I was actually an advocate, and I was actually one that stood in the front of trying to be able to address those issues with regards to the compacts of free association. You know, our prisons are overcrowded, our law enforcement system is overtaxed, is overbeared, and we need to be able to address this. And I think that this is an opportunity for us to be able to ask for a seat at the table, sit down, and not just talk to Washington, D.C., but talk to the areas that these migrants come from the FSM, from Palau, and from the Marshall Islands, and see what we can do collaboratively to be able to address this issue. I think that the conversations need to occur, and they need to occur, and they need to start now.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Palacios, you have 10 seconds to ask a follow-up question.
Senator Palacios, do you support deporting convicted FSM citizens back to their island?
Hold on, hold on. You now have 30 seconds to respond.
It's my former boss in the police department. I got 30 seconds to say
25.
25. I'm just waiting. It's just called relaxing. Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
I hope this is about crime.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Palacios, you selected number 6, okay? Number 6. On January 1st, 2015, Guam's minimum wage will increase to $8.25 an hour, $1 above the federal minimum wage, which is $7.25 an hour. A proposal being considered presently may require employers to increase that minimum wage rate a year later, and then again in 2017 to more than $10 an hour. Sir, do you believe continuously raising Guam's minimum wage rate will negatively or positively affect Guam's economy? Does everybody win with this arrangement?
As a business person, of course, I'm probably a little bit biased, but not everyone will win in this arrangement. As for example, as a small business owner right now, as we speak, we're already planning to see maybe perhaps lay off some people, because that would be, you have to make up somewhere, and you're just going to have to live within what you have right now. And if the minimum wage is going to be continuously raised, then we have to take that away from someone to create that surplus to be able to cope with the rising wages. So certainly they will be losers if we continue to raise the minimum wage. If raising the minimum wage is so good, then why don't we raise to $20 an hour? I mean, maybe it's facetious, but a facetious question, but that's what it is. We have to do a study, an impact study. Let the market determine the labor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Candidate Perez, you have 10 seconds for a follow-up question.
Okay, the law, I think, affected more the underemployed than the unemployed, but you mentioned possibly unemploying some people. Do you think that would be a bad thing?
Thank you very much. Sir, would you like to respond? You have 30 seconds.
Definitely, of course, those people that you're going to have to probably let go so that you can have that funds to make up for the raise in the minimum wage, those people will be out of job. And then again, in selecting employment, you're paying people $10 an hour, for example. You would want someone with experience and so forth. As a businessman perspective, that's how I see it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Perez, will you be kind enough to draw a number from the ball, please? You know what? I think for the benefit of the audience, they would love to actually see you respond, but I appreciate the drama. Thank you. Number 3. Sir, you selected number 3. All right. Number 3. 75% of incoming freshmen at the University of Guam and the Guam Community College need remedial English, and 90% of them, of the 75% specifically, need remediation in math. What changes would you make to the present public school system to change these concerning statistics?
Wow. I agree with the numbers, and I think it's a horrible thing, but is it something that truly I may be able to fix? We paid the experts to do that. We have John Hernandez in there and the board to try to help create instances in which we can avoid that. But in something I wrote earlier today, I think the willingness to learn and the ability to get your child to learn really starts at home. Plain and simple. I wasn't a great student, but I passed because I feared the wrath of my mother, knowing that I might have failed while she worked 2 jobs to put me through school. The impetus was not that I wanted to improve and get better. It was more fear, right? I didn't want my mom to get mad, but it helped, and it started at home, and hence here I am today. I think that in order to get the rate to drop, we truly have to make it a cultural item.
Thank you very much. Senator Nicholas, you have 10 seconds for a follow-up question.
Did you go to public school?
That's a 1-second response. Go ahead. You have 30 seconds to respond to that question.
When I was in the mainland, I did. 2 years at Alvarado Elementary in the Bay Area in the city of Union City. While I was in Guam, it was Cathedral, Bishop Gardner, and Father Duenas. And hence, I think that's why my mom had to work 2 jobs putting me and my sister through school. But it was seeing that drive that she had, the sacrifice she made to make sure we go to school, that I greatly appreciate now. And it started at home. She said, hey, I'm gonna work hard, make sure you pass, right? Or otherwise, oh, I'm sorry, a belt or a stick, can I say that? You know, people are getting in trouble for whipping their kids. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Senator Nicholas, the number you selected was 25. Was 25.
That bill makes me so nervous.
Senator Nicholas. Recently, the hospital administrator declared the Guam Memorial Hospital broke, which could potentially affect its accreditation status. Define your understanding of and give your solution for the continued financial and performance problems faced by GMH.
Thank you for the question. The problems of GMH are multifaceted. One of them is that they have a billings problem. When my son went in there for some surgery, we didn't get our bill till almost 9 months later. You know, so how are you going to improve your cash flow situation if you're not getting your billings out in time? So that needs to improve a little bit up at the hospital. We also have a problem with making sure we're getting the reimbursements from Medicaid and Medicare at a level that's high enough for the poverty rate that we have here on this island. Our poverty rate is actually more along the Mississippi lines, but we get a reimbursement rate at a percentage that's far less than Mississippi. So we need to work on getting more equity in that so we can get more reimbursements to help improve the hospital. Aside from that, I think that when you look at the financials of the hospital, you'll see that they've kept their expenses pretty level. Their problem is bringing in the revenue. So we just need to make sure that we're collecting what is billed. We need to make sure that we're getting the reimbursements at the rate that we should be getting them at. And we also need to make sure that if the government needs to step in and help the hospital out more, we're ready to do that. But all that needs to be on the table.
Thank you very much. Senator Yamashita has 10 seconds to ask her follow-up question.
So Senator Nicholas, as we do agree it is a public hospital, and we do agree on what is driving the financial picture of it, would you also agree that the oversight chair and this Guam legislature, along with Governor Calvo, has done everything they can to further the progress of GMH?
I'm waiting for the bell. I feel like Pavlov's dog. Man, you guys. So, you know, I don't necessarily agree that we've done everything we can. When you see that our rate of revenues are actually declining year over year, we were bringing more money in 2003 than we are today. The revenues that were collected for GMH were at one point at 86 million, and now it's down to below 60 million. So we actually need to do more. We need to do more in bringing in the revenue into the Guam Memorial Hospital. And part of that involves making sure the Medicaid money is coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next.
Do I get to respond to that? Or
No,
it's
I'm
over?
so sorry.
Okay.
Maybe after the event. Thank you very much. The mics are on lease. You've selected number 19, ma'am, number 19.
That's a good number.
It is.
It is.
Senator Yamashita, how would you enforce and increase tax collections on Guam?
Well, that presumes that there will be increased tax collections. Okay.
No, how would you increase? Yes. How would
Increase
you
the collections of
increase,
taxes?
Right, and
Not
enforce-
increase taxes.
Actually, enforce and increase tax collections.
In-
Oh, I beg your pardon, and I should have looked myself.
How
I'm
will
sorry.
you thank you. How will you enforce and increase tax collections on Guam? Well, I think that we have been trying to do that. We're working with Department of Revenue and Taxation and in addressing the number of agents that they have. What? I can't talk yet?
No, it's just,
What?
and it's not your fault. I'm so sorry. You know what we did? We were conversing for a little bit, and so it would have been unfair. I just wanted to make sure I gave you enough time. So just hold on. Let's go ahead and start the clock. I beg your pardon. Okay, you have 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you. So how will we enforce and increase tax collections on Guam? I think that we have really begun to whittle away at this issue. We've worked with Department of Revenue and Tax, we've worked with Department of Administration, we've worked with Bureau of Budget to see how many people they have, how many agents they have with Rev and Tax, what kind of numbers do they need, and we know that we have given them this legislature, the past legislature, has increased the personnel monies for the agents, and we know that we've increased the technology aspect of it. We've increased the software and what that looks like so that it can be more efficient in looking at the roles. And so that goes to the enforcement and the increasing the tax collections. But I suppose we would also do better if we did a lot more awareness and training with everybody that's out there, whether it's personal or business. So, you know, what do we got to do, and how do we need to do it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Guthertz, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes, Eileen. Don't you think one way to enhance tax collections is for the legislature to stop giving tax exemptions to certain
thank you.
interests on the island?
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. Thank you. You now have 30 seconds to respond to Dr. Guthertz's question.
Well, the tax exemptions are given in a way to actually build the business economy, the whole development of it. So I'm not so certain that the tax exemptions, which diversifies economy and invigorates the economy, is on the same page as tax collections, so to speak. So certainly it would take a lot more than 30 seconds to really address the complexities of that whole issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Academy beloved.
Okay, here we go. You were asking about the number of rounds. It just depends on how long it takes. So it might be 3, it might be 4. You know what? We have another 45 minutes. We have another 45 minutes. Okay, so if you need to stretch your legs, just do it in about 45 minutes. Okay, we have number 7. We have number 7. Sorry. Okay. Dr. Guthertz, number 7. Would you vote to legalize gay marriage? Explain.
I have a position on this. I support civil unions, and I leave it to the churches to decide the dogma of marriage. That's my response.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, candidate Bloss, a follow-up?
Well, before I was an employee, and soon we'll be working together if the people of Guam permits. But on this answer, it's very sensitive, and I agree with you. The church should be the one in charge of the sacrament of what we call
Thank
holy
you very
matrimony.
much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate it. I didn't mean to. I'm very sorry. Thank you very much, though, for your response.
I thought I was supposed to respond.
I was wondering. All right. Sir, you selected number 32. Okay, just wanted to let you know that. 32. Here we go. Candidate Bloss. Reportedly, 90% of Guam's food supplies are imported. It has been estimated by some in the agricultural community that should we suffer a halt in inbound shipping, Guam's food supply will not last longer than 3 weeks. What would you do to make our island more self-sustaining?
In regards to this question, of course, our population is growing each day, all walks of life, and we need to feed everyone in regards to food coming in importation. So we just have to reevaluate, control, and assure, because as we know, we have to be honest, we don't have like our elders that gualo or farmed and fed 12 kids. So, and many of us are busy today. So with that said, we just have to continue to evaluate the importation of coming in and food and all other items that are important that makes us live today, clothes, jewelry for our house, and food. With that said, well, we just have to evaluate and make sure that it must continue, because after all, we still don't have enough food at our farms, at every backyard, at every home and in every village. We have to be realistic here. It is not 1889. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Duenas, your follow-up question, you have 10 seconds.
Sure. Roland, would you support subsistence training in the schools for our school children to learn to plant, at least for subsistence?
Yes, indeed, I agree. As the saying goes, everything starts at home. And yes, we must continue, because we may not know that day or hour that will come that we won't have importation coming, and we have to feed ourselves. So yes, everything starts at home, and our parents must teach our children, their children, to sustain by living right back at their homes in farming and planting to survive and have food to live. Yes, agreed.
Thank you very much. Candidate Hills, just wanted to remind you to prepare your follow-up, sir. Thank you very much. Senator Duenas, you selected number 34.
Okay.
Senator Duenas, Guam's Legislative Blue Ribbon Committee found over 100 toxic contaminated sites, but none has ever been cleaned up. Are you aware of these sites, and how would you go about getting them cleaned?
Thank you for that question. I'm aware of a few. As a matter of fact, up in Arunau, one of my family members oversaw that cleanup, and it looked like a gondola coming down, and it looked like half of that mountain had been stripped because they had to remove all of the dumped materials that were dumped there. It's one of the reasons why I introduced a bill to ensure, and I wish it would have been put out in this session, to take suit against the federal government for their participation under CERCLA in the ORDOT dump. You know, there's been a lot of this that has happened under Angel Santos' time. He fought against the mustard gas and all these other findings up in Mongmong Totomaiti. And you know, the federal government never looked back at us and said, we won't pay that. They paid every dime of that. They just got through cleaning up over by White Lady, also in that area next to the Naval Hospital. They've always cleaned up when it's been brought to their attention. So I certainly am aware of several sites, not the full 100-some, but I will always fight to have the federal government clean up Guam.
Thank you very much, sir. Candidate Hills, your follow-up question. You have 10 seconds, sir.
Thank you for that opportunity. Senator Duenas, the current legislature that you're a part of, absolutely you introduced a bill. It has to have a source of funding. So in terms of your legislation, where does the funding come from? And is this going to actually benefit directly the people of Guam?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hills. Thank you, Mr. Hills. It comes from the general fund. As a matter of fact, there were 3 other bills that were on that same billing, or in terms of the accounting that goes along with having to stand and support the bills to be reported out of committee. That's why it was reported out of committee. But what I will say as well is, it comes from the general fund. The governor has an authority. There were 5 other bills that passed that had a similar situation, that had to have that funding source that was identified. And I asked on the floor on one of those bills, how's it going to affect the economy? What's the impact?
Thank
and there was
you.
no answer, but it still passed.
Sorry. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Senator Duenas. Thank you very much. Candidate Hills? I think the person who folded these numbers does origami, because these are very complicated to open. I'm struggling. I'm sorry. You selected number 16, sir. Candidate Hills, please list 3 ways you would lower utility bills without sacrificing service.
Thank you for that opportunity to answer this very specific question that is so, endangering the livelihood of our families. 3 ways that you can lower utility bills is basically by the consumption at home. I practice that personally. I don't turn on the aircon throughout the day. It's also thinking about the future and how do you utilize renewable and independent energy. The government of Guam needs to be in the supply line of helping families, making sure that we can offset costs, not just the straight answer of increasing rates under the Consolidated Commission Utilities. Another way that you can lower utility rates is to make sure that when you utilize and think of what you're going to do throughout the day, it's not just whether you utilize power at home, it's also the consumption of gas on your car. So everything that you do has a monopoly effect, whether you utilize your vehicle or your consumption of energy at the home, but it's also thinking about what can the government do to make sure we offset costs for the people of Guam, and we have to focus on the investment on renewable and independent energy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Espaldon, a follow-up question?
What would be the policy that we would have to introduce to get that achieved?
Thank you. You have 30 seconds, sir.
Thank you. And Senator, that's a wonderful question to ask in regards to this specific issue. I think that the government of Guam has to have a priority and be proactive. We can't be, reacting to the effect of rising utility costs. I think that the policy needs to begin with, do we start saving power and utilities within the government agencies, mainly starting with the Department of Education. The University of Guam is conducting the installments of solar panels. So I think if we start at the agency level, we can start with the larger agencies.
Thank you very much, sir. You selected 28. Just trying to make eye contact. Sorry, thank you, Jimmy. You're such a gentleman. All right, here we go. The low condom use rate among teens results in Guam having double the number of pregnant teens in the United States. Teen pregnancy leads to low birth weight with uninformed teen mothers whose babies sometimes do not thrive or die. Public health's efforts to distribute condoms are hindered by school and store prohibitions against distributing condoms or selling condoms to teens under 18 years of age. Former Senator Espaldon, what is your position on distributing condoms in Guam schools during sexual education or abstinence training programs?
Sexual abstinence training programs?
Specifically, what is your position on distributing them in class, in schools?
Bottom line, do I stand for giving condoms out in public schools?
Yes.
In schools, bottom line. You know, I think that that could probably be a part of the curriculum, but that's not the answer. I think the answer is really getting real with the young people, helping them understand the value, first of all, of education and moving on past just thinking about having sex. I mean, it's a natural drive, but again, we still have to give them the broader perspective. Yes, I believe we should hand them out, not maybe specifically for use, but at least to be able to take a look at it. I saw my first condom when I was in 6th grade. I had no clue what to do with it, right? And again, not that I used it, but I was curious. And I think we have to be real. I think we do need to be inform our young people. But again, I think we have to help them aspire for something greater and aspire for what they really could be.
Sorry, thank you very much. I was debating whether I should have given you an additional 10 seconds on that because you needed a clarification at the beginning. I'm really sorry. But you didn't need it, right? An additional 10 seconds, you're okay?
No, I just thought you were going to ask me what was my preferred sexual position.
Okay, I definitely was not going to ask you that, sir. I'm sorry. I meant that in the nicest way. Do not read into that. Okay. All right. Former Senator Cristobal. Ma'am, do you feel comfortable asking a follow-up question? I'm just kidding.
I honestly feel very comfortable with these two wonderful human beings next to me. Jimmy, you did a great job with that answer. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Former Senator Cristobal, you selected number 8, ma'am.
Hey, that's a great number.
Well, the Chinese
I'm
believe
number
so.
8 on the ballot. Please don't forget number 8.
Oh, there's a correlation. I'm sorry. Okay, number 8, here we go. Overcrowding and understaffing only represent a couple of the problems faced by Guam's prison for years. How would you, former Senator Cristobal, address this if elected? Do you believe it is time to ask the federal government to step in and oversee our problem? So that's a two-part question. Sorry, and you have 60 seconds now.
God forbid. I really do not think we need the federal government to help us govern our system. I think that expanding the prison is not the answer. I think that we need to relook at some of the nonviolent crimes that were committed that have long sentences and maybe reevaluate those and let's see, and maybe do some more training that we need to do for our prisoners. They are human beings, and the demographics there is alarming. It concerns me in another way, and that is the deterioration of our own community here. And so with respect to the prison, I think that the government of Guam can handle it. I don't think we need the federal government to tell us on how to run our prison system.
Thank you very much. Candidate Leon Guerrero, do you have a 10-second follow-up question, sir?
I do not.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, former Senator Cristobal. You selected number 20.
Everybody raise your hand if you're 20.
One of the main problems Guam Community College students have listed as a hindrance to attending classes is a lack of transportation. They have complained about having to catch the public bus 2 hours before their class or waiting hours upon hours after classes because the buses are on such an irregular schedule. Your question: if elected, what will you do to develop a reliable and regularly scheduled bus system for our island?
Good question. You're basically not just talking about public transportation for students, you're talking about public transportation in general, which Senator Ada referred to earlier. That system needs to be revamped and it needs to be fixed. We need a reliable public transit system, and I think that the first thing to do would be to come up with a master plan for the entire island, and then after you come up with a master plan, come up with an implementation plan to actually implement the bus system so that it's reliable. Currently, we're going through pilot programs, and that's a good thing, but we still have to understand the size of the buses, the number of people that are going to go on and take advantage of this, and how that can become sustainable. So it's not an easy fix, but it's something that is doable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Ada, follow-up question.
Do you think privatization of the mass transit would be a solution?
I think that we should look at it, look at privatization as a possible solution, and if it is a viable alternative, then to outsource or privatize the entire mass transit system, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Number 43. Senator Ada, would you support a law to ban casino gambling at the Liberation Day Carnival and village fiestas?
Actually, I would support policy that bans gambling, whether it be in the casino grounds or anywhere. In fact, what's even more interesting is the fact that the casino gambling that has been allowed during the carnival period continues to exist today. So I just don't support gambling at all. And so whether it's on the casino grounds or whatever, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have no question.
I was going to get to you. Yes, sir. Oh, actually, you have no comment.
No comment.
Candidate. Okay, Benavente. We'll go ahead and ask your question here. Sorry, sir. Mr. Benavente, you selected number 48, sir. Mr. Benavente, should all 15 of this evening's panel of senatorial candidates be successfully elected, tell us how you plan to bridge bipartisan differences to create the most effective legislature Guam has ever had.
You know, in many corporations and organizations, they have these little retreats where they get together and do casual conversations maybe like this, do some bonding exercises. As a former basketball coach, one of the things that we do to get the team to bond together was we go and do, you know, barbecues, we go run down the street and do military cadence, you know, like run around. So a lot of little bonding exercises, got a little more of get to know you opportunities. So that's really what I would do. It's actually very simple to get people together.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Rodriguez, do you have a follow-up question?
Would you chair the committee of the legislature to do that?
I'll be glad to.
Thank you very much. Senator Rodriguez, let's draw a number. Thank you very much. Sir, you selected number 40. Senator Rodriguez, classroom textbooks being received on time in our public schools is a chronic problem. What is your assessment on the use of e-books, electronic books, their benefits and drawbacks?
Well, thank you very much for that question. you know, the technology nowadays has advanced us. And so we really must be looking at technology, using ebooks in the classrooms. I know my son goes to Liguan Terrace Elementary School. He came home one day and he said that his teacher was really sad because her class did not win the contest of having a, I don't know what it's called, the computerized chalkboard, right?
Yeah, Promethean.
That's right. And so, you know, I think it has to be something that we really look at. We know that we have problems of getting textbooks on time, but with the technology nowadays, this is the path that we should be taking, and this is something that I wish to pursue down the road as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Blas, you have follow-up questions, sir.
No question.
Hiya, day. Okay.
My wife agreed with his answer.
I know. He's just too nice. Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. Number 31, sir.
My age, good, okay.
I knew it. Okay, here we go.
Thanks, Carm.
Okay, here we go. Many have stated that until the people of Guam are allowed to determine their political status, they remain hampered by federal constraints and will be unable to realize their full economic potential without assistance from the federal government. Do you believe, sir, that we should hold a decolonization vote? If not, why? If you agree, how will you support its implementation?
Thank you. I think that Hope would like to join me on this conversation here. But, you know, I find it really disturbing that, first off, we continue to be governed by laws that were enacted and then were basically the courts in 1898, the same courts that basically said that sequestration, the same courts that said that the blacks continue to sit in the back of the bus while the whites can sit in the front, those courts said that what they're doing today, or that we have to continue to be governed by that. It really bothers me that the current president, the president of the United States, you know, has taken the position that we continue to be second-class citizens. And I think that it's about time, I think that we politically matured to be able to answer and to be able to determine where we want to go with regards to our political status. So we need to move forward on this. We need to move forward, and if decolonization, if that discussion has to happen, then so be it.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Palacios, do you have a follow-up question, sir?
Yes. So, you know, we are having difficulty registering for this, to vote for on the plebiscite. What do you think is the problem? I mean, why can't we have enough people to register so that we're able to have this plebiscite?
Thank you very much, sir.
A very good question, and thank you, Cap. You know, one of the first things to do is we have to be able to make sure that the definitions are proper. It says that the vote is for those individuals that were born or that were of ancestry of those individuals that were on Guam prior to 1950. Do you know how many Caucasians, you know how many Japanese, you know how many Filipinos were here? So they have just as much right. Okay? So I think that first we have to determine that. We didn't say Chamorro only vote. They did. I'm done. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to be sure. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, you selected number 5. Former Senator Palacios, would you vote to legalize the use of marijuana for medical purposes? Explain your answer, please, sir.
At this point, my concern here, because the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes actually is not my focus on this issue. It is the regulatory part of it. In fact, I rather support, if there's any, recreational use of marijuana. That way, you don't have to enforce. You don't have to tax law enforcement to try and determine whether this item is legally acquired or not. Right now, as it is, how would you know that what I have is what I got through prescription and not from the plants that I grew from the back house? So you see the nightmare that's going to come up. All I need is to register there, then I will never run out of marijuana, because I will have the one that is prescribed to me, but I will use the one that I grew in the backyard. That is the problem. But I support any use, any issue that will mitigate, that will remedy pain of people that are suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the irony. I know, I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Okay, sir, you have 10 seconds for a follow-up question.
I didn't see the time. Did you want to expand on that any further? If not, not a problem.
No, you can expand. Thank you.
That's it.
I think it's a thank you very much to both of you. What question did you want earlier? Number one. It's number one. Here we go.
The difficult one is that.
Where do you go? No, it wasn't difficult. It's very interesting. Number one. Just more irony because he wanted number one earlier. Just saying. Okay, number one. In the Mariana's Variety last month, a report had stated there will be a generation of people seeking government welfare to support their lifestyle after retirement because what they saved over time was not enough, quote unquote. An alternative option suggested for workers was to, quote, never retire. Is it realistic for employees to believe that in the future they will be able to live on their retirement, considering the continued high rates of inflation and volatility of the markets in which their retirement plan is invested? If not, what are your recommendations?
That's a massive question, and to get to the root of it.
It took me 2 minutes to ask it, and you have 60 seconds to respond, sir.
As a former financial advisor, a corporate banker, and a corporate finance person, you've got to save. There's no doubt about it. Do we make enough, or will we make enough as prices go up in the future? I don't know. But if Guam's economy was to prosper, the wages that people on this island would make would most definitely cover their cost of goods and the cost of living. That's something everyone's been asking of the candidates, is that how will you make Guam's economy prosper? You know, we've got Gita and we've got GVB trying to answer that question right now. It's the magic bullet. How's it going to be? I think it's collective effort, and it goes back to the home. If we make our children want more, they'll do more. They'll strive and sacrifice to try to get it. And in that, in turn, they will.
Thank you very much. Senator Sinicolas,
Thank
follow-up
you.
question, sir.
You know, we both have the same background here. Do you support Social Security for the government of Guam new plan employees? Would you support implementing that program for them?
You have 30 seconds.
Looking at the economy of the island, Social Security will come from the feds. I know that we pay it, but the way it works is that whatever's in there, we will still get them, and that's federal dollars. Absolutely. It brings federal money back to the island of Guam. And SSI.
Thank you very much. So we're going to go ahead, Senator Yamashita, we're going to deduct 2 seconds off of your 60 seconds. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. Thank you very much. Senator Sinicolas, you've selected 41. Rhino beetles and fire ants have joined the brown tree snake in wreaking havoc on the environmental makeup of Guam's ecosystem. What will you do to prevent these pests from destroying our environment and, above all, our coconut tree population?
You know, I wish that somebody in this room could actually have the final answer on that, because it's a question that we would all love to get resolved. I just came up from my house down in Talafofo, and sadly, I had this one coconut tree there. It was the mother of all coconut trees. It produced so many coconuts, and it's dying. It has rhino beetle. A lot of the trees around the property do now. We need to figure out how we're going to eradicate these pests, but we need an action plan in order to do it. I've seen over the years that the legislature has appropriated pockets of money to address the issue, 500,000 here, 250,000 there, but we still don't know exactly where the end is in sight. And I would prefer that we spend even that much money to get an action plan in place that we can confidently say has an 80% chance of fully eradicating the pests, and it's going to take an investment of 10, 15, 20 million, whatever the number is. But at least we're able to know where the end line is, what the odds are of us being able to accomplish that goal, and how much it's going to take.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Yamashita, follow-up question, ma'am.
Thank you. So Senator Nicholas, I think it really does provide the question of how do we as a legislature best provide a structure, for example, but no, because Senator Duenas offered this bill, and we've got the Biosecurity Council.
Senator
Really?
Yamashita, I'm so sorry. Was there, could you like kind of read and understand, and she was kind of alluding to something. I'm hoping you can draw from that and glean from it, sorry.
Security Council.
Thank you.
I'll do my best.
That was a hint.
I think
Thank
that
you,
the
ma'am.
senator was trying to get to a specific issue. I'm not quite familiar with a biosecurity council, but again, I think she was talking more about the idea of structure. And I would fully support a bipartisan effort to find any kind of structure that we can all get behind and agree on and come to a conclusion with and get an amount to that would resolve this problem. Because I don't think there's anyone in this community who doesn't agree that we need to eradicate those pests. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
You can skip me.
Never. We will never skip you. If you're here, we are going to take advantage of who she is, Senator Yamashita. Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am, you selected number 21. 21.
Sorry.
Number 21. Senator Yamashita, what would you do to ensure authorities uncover any existence of human trafficking on Guam?
We've actually been working on that. We've been working with Department of Labor. Greg Massey is the head of that. We work with the Attorney General's office. We have many different nonprofit groups, the Just Say No Sexual Coalition, and so we've identified where they might be. Sting operations happen, and about 3 weeks ago I had a meeting with Greg Massey, and he says he really believes that that is really under control. So I'm done.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I was like, thank you, and for the thank you.
Eileen.
Hey, okay, here we go. The party's back on. Here we go.
Mr. Massey may have said it's under control, but the reality is it's still occurring in the bars, in the karaoke bars. You talk to the FBI agents now.
Thank you.
We've got to do more.
Was that a comment? Could you?
Yes.
Okay.
What can we do to do more?
Oh, boy, you just slid that one in there. You are slick. Okay, you have 30 seconds, ma'am.
So what we would do then is we would convene another conversation with the FBI and bring everybody back to speed and talk to you to find out where those pockets are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Men, do not let the ladies influence you. Stay within your time limits, okay? All right, I beg your pardon. See, I'm ripping up the, here we go. Ma'am, you selected number 17.
Okay.
Dr. Guthertz, do you believe that Guam's public utilities are better managed under the Commission on Consolidated Utilities, CCU, or under the administrative powers of the Governor's Office? Please explain.
Well, looking at the track record of the continuing increases in the power rates and water rates, and now the planned cumulative plan of the CCU to charge us, and also the planned increase in fees from the GWA, I think we should abolish the CCU. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Candidate Bloss, do you have a follow-up question, sir?
Actually, I agree with her. Yes.
Well, you make my job so easy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Candidate Bloss, sir, you've selected number 12. This question is so long. That's what's been weighing this document down here. Okay, here we go. Number 12. Guam's population has been most patriotic in serving our country, with per capita military service among the highest in the United States. And unfortunately, rates of casualties and deaths from Iraq and Afghanistan, the highest per capita in the country. 1 out of every 8 adult Guamanians is a veteran, the highest percentage of all the states. Yet, in 2012, Guam ranked last in the per capita medical costs from the Veterans Administration. Your question: do you believe, sir, Guam's veterans are being adequately or underfunded for medical services and other benefits entitled to them for their prior military service? If they are underfunded, are the reasons procedural or discriminatory? State your reasons.
Well, I truly believe that, first of all, we became U.S. in 1898. And 1941, the U.S. came back and liberated us. And to this day, we still survive and stand, rather, to support the U.S. And so each Chamorro, each Guamanian living on Guam that serves that United States, that fights, dies for our island, our people, and our country, and the entire U.S., they deserve equally, just like the men and women in the United States of America fighting for our country, the flag that we salute, U.S. flag. And Guam is a U.S. territory. And yes, I agree that we should fully, 100%, receive the same treatment, the same equality of services and from the military, and that especially that Guam, the subject of the military buildup, is growing, and many of them now are coming. So yes, all should be treated the same, yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Duenas, do you have a follow-up question? Sir, you have 10 seconds.
As Senator Blas, would you introduce a resolution to call on our congressperson to introduce legislation that reflects that and make that a top priority?
30 seconds.
Yes, indeed. I will support fully the resolution because, again, as I said earlier, and I continuously express, and even when I speak at many functions and events, that we are still a U.S. territory and that we should fully 100% receive the same treatment.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'm going to stay seated because Team Senator Blas is worried I'm going to fall on the floor. So.
Yeah, let's not do that tonight.
They've been good to me.
All right.
I'm voting for you, brother.
You know what, actually, though, you bring it up, and seriously, I really think you're about a quarter inch from the edge there.
I've been
I really
told.
would move. No, seriously.
Thank you.
You know? I need reading glasses, but when you have kids, your eyes are sharp. Okay,
it's
here
a
we
vote
go.
getting. I did it in Molesto, and every sympathy votes are coming in every day.
Aye a day. I'm sorry. Okay, sir,
Thank you,
you've
though.
selected 22.
Wonderful.
All right.
That must be a complicated one. No math questions, okay? Unless Nicholas brought his calculator. So.
I just want to make sure that we're accurate. If I need to be corrected, anybody just raise your hand and correct me, okay, seriously. It's a figure question. All right, here we go. Here we go. The Dave Santos Small Business Act excludes retail businesses from paying the 4% gross receipts tax on the first $50,000 of sales.
I believe that's correct.
There-
40 or it's.
I beg your pardon. It was 40 or 50. It was 50 at one point, but it's 40. Thank you very much for the clarification. We're clear on that. 40,000. Thank you very much. What changes, if any, should be made to this act?
Well, this is interesting because this actually came up as part of a bill that I introduced along with the many Republican senators to combat the increase, the proposed increase in the minimum wage and try to help small businesses. What we found out was that any adjustment to the Dave Santos Amendment Act at this time, because of the bond covenants that we have, would actually violate those bond covenants. So we found out that we cannot introduce any graduated or lowering or adjusting of the de Santos Amendment at this time. I would say that, along with many economic opportunities and adjustments that I have proposed and will propose in the future in the legislature, always looking at comprehensive tax policy, making sure that we don't overtax businesses and allow businesses to really provide that income capability for our people, and any adjustments that we can do for higher employment to give people opportunity for jobs is something I'll continue to support. But at this time, we cannot make that adjustment.
Sorry, thank you very much. I'm still going to ask candidate Hills, though, if he has a follow-up question.
Certainly.
Okay? Sir?
Thank you so much. If I'm elected, I have a college to career plan that offsets business taxes for those who hire locally here in Guam, and it supports small businesses. Would you support that legislation that I introduced that offsets that taxes for businesses?
Is that my bell? Okay. You know, Derek, I think that will be a wonderful complement to the 3 scholarship bills that I introduced in the first legislature with the help of Senator Yamashita. And it is designed to do exactly that, allow businesses to take a certain amount of their income under the 501c and other programs and invest it up there at the University of Guam, the Guam Trades Academy, and the Guam Community College, so that we can ensure, especially those that are underserved and underprivileged, that is what it's designed for those who don't have the money in the pocket and parents with big pockets to send them to school. So you can complement already public law.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Senator Duenas.
Thank you.
All right. Candidate Hills. You're very protective of your time. I appreciate that. I know, pretty soon. Pretty soon. Actually, could I have Jackie Marati up here, please? Is Jackie here? Yep.
Maybe the same question.
So, sir, just before I ask your question, I want to just be able to share something with you. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right. I'm sorry. Sabrina, would you be kind enough to just squat for just a second? Sorry. or just move to the side. Yeah, sure. Squat. Okay. So I just wanted to let you guys know, so the cameras are rolling, but you know that this is going to be edited, so I'm going to take a moment real quick to just give you an idea of what's going to happen. In about 10 minutes, we're going to conclude, okay? At which point, I'm going to ask for each of you to give me 10 seconds, just some concluding statement. Whatever it is you want to say, don't cuss, and don't allude to anything inappropriate or dark. That was a joke. At any rate, you have the 10 seconds. Use it wisely. And we're going to go down the line. We started with candidate Hills. I was going to go ahead and do that again. It just seems appropriate, and then we'll go down the line. So again, we're going to stop in about 10 minutes, at which point I'll say, candidate Hills, your concluding words, sir, and then you'll know to pass along the mic, and everybody will continue to follow suit. All right? And then once you're done, I'm just going to say thank you very much to you, because you all deserve it. You're all so patient. And then once we're done, count to 10 seconds in here, though, and try not to mouth the numbering or counting. It was a joke. And then if you could just make your way into the audience. If you could just make your way into the audience. If you want to shake hands or what have you, then please do. So it's just, we would like to do that. Is that okay? Does anybody need a repeat, or do we know what we're doing? We're good. Thank you. I know you do, but I just wanted to ask to be sure. All right, so we're going to end this in about 7 minutes now, okay? Thank goodness everything is timed. All right, candidate Hills, sir, your number is 29. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. Okay. Candidate Hills. It is extremely difficult for a teen mother to escape the cycle of poverty for herself and her child or children, often dropping out of high school or college to care for them. Do you support the establishment of daycare centers on school grounds to meet the needs of teen mothers?
Thank you. I have a part of the platform of mine that addresses single parents, especially single fathers, What we need to do in the government is actually give every opportunity for mothers and fathers who are single parents to earn every dollar and cent every hour on the job. I think that we can create policy that provides for mothers, especially giving birth at early stages, which is very, very critical for the development of the child, to make sure that there's a huge communication that goes on between the child and the mom during birth, giving up to maybe 1 month and creating a time span where the mother can spend time at home with their child. And because it's very critical, those are the early stages that are very critical to mothers. But I think that we can allow and implement policy that allows a mother to earn every cent and dollar, and also to make sure that they have that opportunity, and fathers as well, to be with that child for a certain amount of time. That's to be discussed amongst my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Espaldon, a follow-up question, please, sir.
Is there a cost to the government on this?
I think that when it comes to supporting single parents and you're talking about bringing them out of poverty, I think government should do everything in its power and its will to support single parents. And if we don't, then we're going to see an increase of single parents falling back into poverty. If poverty is something that we're trying to combat, which it is, and it's a reality, then I think government needs to be in the supply line rather than in the regulating line, and helping businesses to address this issue if they're working in the private and public sector. But yes, there's at a cost, and yes, I support single parents and making sure we can give them every opportunity to earn every dollar and cent.
Thank you very much, sir. Former Senator Espaldon, you selected number 44. Hey, how did you do that? 44, here we go. All right. Number 44. The state of Hawaii has a law banning smoking on the beach and in parks. Would you support a no smoking policy for Guam's beaches and parks?
You know, enacting a policy is one thing, enforcing it is another. When you have a tourist base which brings in tourists from all over the world, what are you going to do? You have Koreans, you have Chinese, you have Filipinos, everybody from around the world. There are smokers. What is the answer to that? That's a difficult question. Yes, I would support it. I mean, but we do have some very restrictive laws right now. In fact, I'm proud to say that my father was the very first one ahead of his time to enact a no smoking policy in public places. So yes, and we all understand the detriment that smoking brings to personal health. The answer is a short yes. However, the implementation is a very long discussion, and I don't think 1 minute's going to justify. But I would definitely consider it depending on what that policy is.
Thank you very, very much, former Senator Espaldon. Former Senator Cristobal, do you have a follow-up question, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Number 33. You've selected number 33. Former Senator Cristobal, today's procurement regulations frustrate local farmers in being able to sell local produce to our schools. Do you agree that locally grown produce is better for our children? And what would you do to promote the sale of local produce to Guam schools?
Thank you for that question. I think one of the things that we need to do is we need to look at the federal regulations that regulate what is given to our children in schools, and we need to make sure that it's clarified because many people do not understand that we can, that the farmers should be providing the produce. As a matter of fact, we have a local law that demands that mandates that local produce be given to our children in the school system, but we are not doing that. And so we need to enforce the law that's already in the books. I'm sorry, let me see. How would I promote the sale? Well, there's a lot of things that we need to do to promote the sale of produce to the Guam schools. One of them is we need to improve the delivery systems that the farmers would, we need to improve the number of farmers and inspire more young farmers and more farmlands.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
I'm going to let you finish your thought. Go how would you propose improving the sale?
Well, I think that, thank you, Glenn. He's such a great guy. You're lucky.
Thanks, Glenn.
Well, there's a lot of ways that we can encourage the sale of local produce, and one way is to support local sales of, we only sell at the flea market right now, but there's what do you call value-added products that we can encourage farmers to engage in. We have a lot of training going on already. And
thank you very much, ma'am. I'm so sorry. Actually, you're doing very well, and I gave you like an additional 2 seconds back there because I jumped in, and I'm really sorry about that. But thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Okay. And do you know the gesture was the friendly nudge gesture, because honestly, that was very nice of you. So thank you very much, candidate Leon Guerrero. Let's go ahead and get him to draw a number. All right. He may be the last one. He may be the last one. Oh, okay. Senator Ada's like, come on. Okay, no, go ahead. See how nice he is? It's like, he's very neighborly. Both west and east. I'm just saying. Thank you very much. I don't know if we're allowed to do that,
So
but I didn't say
Glenn,
anything
listen
in
to
the
the question
guidelines.
closely because you're going to answer it.
Can we do it? Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. This is friendly. Number 42 is what you selected, sir. Number 42. Here we go. Helmets are required for bicycle riders. Would you vote, sir, for a helmet law for all motorcycle riders?
No, I would not. And if we do, then we should require that motorcycle rider to put on boots, armor, and everything else. But to require motorcyclists to put on helmets and then he gets on with his shorts and his zori just doesn't make sense to me. I know that a lot of the bikers come out and they want to feel that freedom of the wind blowing in their hair. That's fine. But I don't believe that helmets alone is going to be sufficient to save lives when they crash.
Thank you. Candidate Benavente, did you have a follow-up question, sir?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm actually looking forward to it.
Sure. Well, Senator Ada, thank you very much. And we're actually going to end on that response. Senatorial candidates, incumbents and non-incumbents, I thank you very much on behalf of the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce for participating in this event. We wish you the best. Before we go, however, we are going to begin with candidate Hills and hear from all of the candidates, just concluding statements, but we're only giving you 10 seconds each. Thank you, sir.
Don't ring that bell.
Ring it.
In 10 seconds, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Most of all, the people that took time out of their lives to come and listen to the candidates. I'm Derek Baza Hills. I chose to run because I see the problems that persist here on the island, and I think that we need to have someone to take care of the problems. Thank you. 10 seconds is very short.
I know. You know what? It's 10 seconds, so this is where we practice. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Difficult questions, difficult issues require more than 1 minute of discussion. It requires critical analysis. I'm an attorney, I'm a lawyer, I have the abilities, I'm asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Former Senator Cristobal.
I'm Hope Alvarez Cristobal. I'm a former school administrator, an instructor at the university. I'm now a culinary herbs farmer, and I'm encouraging sustainable agriculture.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Number 8 on the ballot.
Candidate Leon Guerrero.
I'm Glenn Leon Guerrero, number 6 on the ballot, and thank you for having us.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Ada.
I'm Tom Ada. I think the legislature needs experience, effectiveness, and reliability, and that's what I bring to the table. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Candidate Felix Benavente.
Jobs, opportunities, and housing. This is what I bring to the table with my experience. Thank you very much. Felix Benavente, number 15, Republican.
Thank you very much, sir. Senator Dennis Rodriguez.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve you, the people of Guam, for the past 3.5 years. Please give me your support and vote this coming election. I'd like to still work on your behalf. Thank you very much. God bless you and God bless Guam.
Thank you very much. Former Senator Frank Blas Jr.
Thank you very much. Opportunities. What do you want that to be for you? I'd like to be able to help you to be able to attain your dreams. My name is Frank Blas Jr. I'm asking for your support.
Thank you very much, sir. Former Senator Adolfo Palacios.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your kind attention tonight. You have heard the candidates, any one of which can actually serve you well. It's your choice. Good night.
Thank you very much. Candidate Valentino Perez.
Valentino Perez, running on fiscal and economic responsibility. Also, come get to know us. Ask us questions afterwards.
Thank you very much. Senator Mike Nicholas.
I had a wonderful night tonight. Thank you so much. I'm Michael F.Q. Nicholas. I'm number 10. I want to keep building a responsible Guam. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Senator Aline Yamashita.
Why, thank you. So I want to work really hard to provide opportunities so that every single person on this island can do the very best that they can. My name is Aline Yamashita, and I humbly ask you for one of your votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Dr. Judy Gutherds.
Give Guam good government, and remember, Guam United accomplishes more. Number 6, Judy Gutherds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Roland Blas.
I'm Roland Blas from the beautiful village of Zonia, number 2, and I humbly ask you to cross that river if you're on the other side and undecided and vote for me. Thank you, and God bless you. Si Jesús más.
Thank you. Senator Chris Dueñas.
I'm Chris Dueñas, vote 3. Like my campaign slogan says, I will always work for common man, using common sense and always working for the common good. Please vote 3. I'm Chris Dueñas, number 3 on the ballot.
Thank you so very much. And thank you, senatorial candidates and senators, again, for being part of our conversation this evening. Just before we go to the members of the audience, just a little reminder that the senatorial conversation, or conversatorial, with the remaining 15 candidates takes place next Thursday, that's October 16th, right here at the Academy of Our Lady of Guam. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a very lovely evening.